This is LOA Recon with Good Vibe Coach Jeanette Ma, where we explore the ins and outs of conscious creation to manifest our favorite dreams come true. Let's have some fun together. Wow, sitting down to record a new episode is making me think someone needs to do some laundry soon. My recording studio is starting to look a little untended. That's okay, we'll get to that. Thank you for joining me for another episode, and thank you to the listener who sent this note that reads, Jeanette, these are fantastic. I love that they're so short, relevant, and practical. What a great way to start a new week. Thank you for being so consistent in producing vibe-raising episodes. That is my pleasure. Thank you for listening and for sharing your appreciation with me. So I just had a quick topic to share about today. You know what? I was driving home and I know I'm not alone. This doesn't happen to everyone, but I know I'm not the only one who struggles to see dead animals on the side of the road. Yeah, that's not our favorite thing. And I have had different methods of dealing with that over the years. But today I noticed some of my go-tos weren't working so great for me. And then also I was driving behind someone who was just throwing garbage right out their window. Oh, did you hear how I said that? We live in a very beautiful place. And they were just like handfuls, one after another. I didn't like it. Litter bugs. Okay. And there was another one. I was thinking about, I'd had an interaction with a loved one who I could get a little hung up on thoughts about how they took financial advantage of me. I could. And here's what I noticed these things had in common. When I notice that I'm grumbling about something, first of all, that's important. It's important to notice the grumbling, right? Because it can turn into a habit if we're not careful, if it goes unchecked. That focus of what we don't like, it'll just attract more things to grumble about till pretty soon we're not finding that much to enjoy about life. We're overlooking all the good things because we're dialed on the irritations and the injustices and all the stuff we don't like. So noticing, like realizing that you're mad about something, or maybe it's afraid about something or resentful or whatever the off vibration might be, that's important to notice so we can do something about it. We can put it in check. And here's that's what I wanted to share today is an easy way to do that. Actually, first I'll share the other methods that might work better. If you catch it early, this is what I usually do is just look for a better feeling thought. It's not hard. Any better feeling thought on the subject. Like, for the dead animals, I remember Abraham saying something like, every death is a suicide. This stuff isn't accidental and animals aren't attached to their bodies the same way we are. Maybe that can work. Or, for the financial thing, maybe a thought like, no one took advantage of you. You're not anybody's victim here. This is just a live and learn situation, and you got a lot out of it. That might work. Sometimes it might. And sometimes you do have to try on a variety of thoughts before you find one that offers relief. But when that process isn't getting me anywhere, well, what I did when I was mad about the litter bug, it really bothered me. I tried on my favorite, the thing that works for me many times when other things don't is it's my dad's mantra. That's not what this episode is about because this one didn't work today either. I love this. I love this thought that I got from him, which is I don't hold anything against anyone anymore. Like, I love that thought, but sometimes it's not one I can actually embrace. Like, just sometimes it gets no purchase within me whatsoever. It just slides right off like I was Teflon. There isn't a single part of me that can agree with it or get a hold of it. So instead of trying to force myself into that perspective or mindset, which is just even more frustrating, I just let that go. And I fell back onto something that works for me a lot. Works for me a lot. I want to share it in case it works for you on occasion too. This one does a pretty good job of catching me when the other early interventions aren't working for turning the vibration around. And here's how it goes. In my vortex is. That's it. Well, that's not it. That's the beginning of it. In my vortex is. And then I just think about whatever this contrast that I'm looking at inspired me to want. This is the cue that I learned from Abraham to turn attention to the opposite of what I'm looking at that's causing the bad feelings. For those who don't know what the vortex is, it's a term Abraham uses for it's everything that we want that hasn't manifested yet. Everything that we want that isn't here yet, it's held for us in what they call vibrational escrow, aka the vortex. It's a really abstract concept, but the way I think about it is like there's an alternate reality, a parallel reality where what I want exists, and I can experience that when I come into vibrational resonance with it. And until I'm there, it's the way Abraham talks about it is it's held for you in a type of vibrational escrow that they call your vortex. And they call this process taking the bounce, where you understand that focusing on what you don't like inspires a new desire, or if it's an old desire, maybe it just makes it a stronger desire for the opposite of whatever you're not loving. And when you turn your attention towards this new or stronger desire, you're leveraging contrast the way it was meant to work. Because contrast in itself, it isn't bad or wrong. It's part of how our life gets better. It's how we expand. It's what gives us new desires. So it's not that contrast is a bad thing. It's just unhelpful for us to get stuck in it for too long. And I know that was maybe a lot of Abraham lingo that some of you might not appreciate. But another way to think of it is, instead of in my vortex is, and then using that cue to contemplate what's the opposite, you could use something like, what do I want? Or what would I rather? Or what would be better? Or what's the opposite of this? Or what's this inspiring me to? Or any thought that points you to the other end of this subject. But that shorthand that I learned from Abraham works really well for me. In my vortex is. And then I just contemplate. That's my cue to think about how I wish it were. I think about, seeing the animal on the side of the road. I think about the systems that we are creating. This isn't there. It's already happening. There are systems that make it safer for animals to cross, or cars that alert drivers to obstacles in the road, or how technology is generally getting better about resolving this that, no one wants. And I think about how one day this is going to be a thing of the past because we're going to have this totally figured out. Like one of these days, this won't even be a thing anymore. We're going to have safe crossing systems or automatic early alerts on our cars or something. I've heard of technology that repels animals. There's so many ways it could be solved. And when I think about that, it shifts my vibration. I feel better. And that's the point of this little exercise. Find a way to feel better, anything that works. Or for the litter bug situation, when I ask, well, this is what worked for me when my dad's mantra didn't. How does his mantra go again? I don't hold anything against anyone anymore. Yeah, I tried it. It was doing nothing for me. So then I went to, because I'm just not willing to keep feeling bad, at least not when I'm on my game. Sometimes I don't catch it this early, but when I do, I'm super grateful. So when I tried on, in my vortex is, and it worked. My answer was, it was like people holding really high respect for the natural world that they live in, how good they are at supporting and contributing to our highest experience of it, including proper garbage disposal. And I imagine the day when people wouldn't even dream of throwing trash out in the natural environment. Like that would be unheard of. No one would do that. I like that. That's in my vortex. Or for the loved one who I tell the little story about how I see how it got softer already. Because I tried this on. In my vortex it's loved ones who hold and express respect for me, and they feel secure enough to treat people in their world fairly and justly, and good feelings abound all the way around. It's so easy. It can be quick, it can be easy, especially the more you play with it. It's so much better to contemplate than continuing to fester on the negative stuff. In fact, that's one of my favorite alignment practices, to just go mining what's in our vortex. It's so fun. It's like going on a little treasure hunt in the attic, just rummaging through all this stuff. And it comes from all the contrast we've lived in life, all the desires that all that contrast created. And that just means all these things that are queued up, waiting for us to come into vibrational resonance with them. Oh, it's so fun to go think about what's in there. Like, all the super nice guys, all the wonderful, fair bosses, all the high integrity, super effective politicians, all the easy money, all the plants that live, and the favorite dogs that live forever, and the bodies that just get healthier and feeling better every day. Isn't it fun to contemplate what's in our vortex? I think it is. That's an aligning exercise in itself, to just think about all the things we've ever wanted through our whole entire lives, even in past lives. Sometimes I think about what some of my past lives inspired me to, that I'm probably living right now. Like, hot water on demand. I think it's a fun exercise. Anyway, this is my little vibration management trick for you today that I picked up from Abraham somewhere along the way. In my vortex is, and just finishing that statement redirects my focus to the wanted instead of lingering on the unwanted stuff that I don't need to attract any more of into my world. So on those occasions that you don't have success with finding a thought that feels better on whatever subject might be causing you grief, maybe try this one, where you just contemplate the desire that it created or strengthened within you. Hope you get some manifesting inspiration from this one, and thanks for listening.